T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Tonight on Truth Today, as the church goes, so goes America. The question is, which way is America going based upon the way that the church has been going? Also, we're going to discuss the situation with Israel, Iran, Islam's continued takeover over America and our cities. And the big question is, do we have the will to fight? Is there a fight left in us as Christians in this nation? That and much more right now on Truth Today. Well, good evening, folks. Pastor Shahram Hadian here in studio with you. Thank you for joining Truth Today. Thank you for tuning in and taking the time out of your schedule to watch us live here tonight. If you happen to be watching this on a replay, thank you for jumping on our channel, our platforms, and supporting ministries like this, where we are committed to speaking the truth in love on all matters. There's nothing off topic that we will not discuss. As long as the Bible discusses it, we will discuss it. We're going to set up a biblical worldview. That's our responsibility. Equip the saints for the work of the ministry. So glad to have you tonight. Just a couple of housekeeping items. As always, remember that if you'd like to know more about our ministry, you can go ahead and join us on our website, tilministry.com, tilministry.com. Learn more information there, our travel schedule, if you want us to come speak in your area. Also remember that we are on Rumble and Facebook and YouTube as our main platforms. Rumble, of course, is our main channel. Remember that there's a red button on there on that page that says join. If you click on that, that subscribes you to our channel. And please like and share. That is a blessing. So thank you guys so much. Also, we are on audio on Podbean, and we have we have several audio platforms, but Podbean, I believe, is our main audio platform. So if you also go there, you can check out our audio. We try to put our shows on there. We're a little behind schedule, but we try to put our shows on there. And so click in. But thank you guys again. We are live with you here. Some of you may have been watching over at Worldview Tube. because I was covering for Brandon House tonight, and that is airing right now. It's 8:20, so in about 8 minutes, it will be airing on Worldview Tube, the shows that I did. So maybe you can finish with us tonight and then head over to Worldview Tube and watch my interviews that I did with my friend Hedi Amiramati. I had Robert Spencer on, Gordon Chang. We talked about the Red Green Alliance, what's going on in America. Very, very fascinating program tonight that is airing at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Worldview Tube. But again, hopefully you'll stick here and head over there. But I ended up pre-taping that because obviously I have my live show, but the show airs live. And when Brandon does it, he's live. But I had to obviously pre-tape it since we are live tonight. So anyway, that's there. So thank you guys for that. Also, remember on the live chat, 2 things tonight. Let us know where you're from. We always love to hear where everyone's from. And thank you for those of you who have already done that. It's a blessing to see where everyone's joining us from. And then also, yes, Worldview Tube. Durnadin, Worldview Tube, Brandon House, Worldview Tube. If you go to Worldview Tube, TUBE, worldviewtube.com, you can watch the programs there. So again, we're on all those platforms there, and we appreciate your support. We thank you for your prayers, and thank you guys for your prayers. By the way, on a separate note, if you guys can pray tomorrow, I have a meeting. Monday, I had to go in for an MRI on my left knee. It's been really bad. I've been having a very, very difficult time walking. And I suspected that there was something going on. And so I had an MRI. So I have a torn meniscus and a lot of fluid buildup and something called a Baker's cyst and a bunch of stuff there that's inflammation, tearing, some damage to the left knee. And so tomorrow morning, I have an interview, or not interview, I have an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon. Pray for wisdom that I would do make the right decision, not necessarily surgery, but what they can do to help with it so I can rehab, recover, stay strong out there for the fight. Had a lot of different health issues in the last few months, but through each one, God has been gracious, and God's grace is sufficient for each day as it is for all of us. So again, thank you guys for your prayers for that. Also, we're going to be taking questions. So if you have a question, please put it in the live chat. I will do my best to go back and watch them and follow them as we go. But tonight, we're going to be talking about our nation. We're going to be talking about the church. We're going to be talking about the condition of our nation, especially in light of things that are going on. And the big question is, do we have the will to fight for liberty, for freedom, for truth, for righteousness, for our Christian heritage that has blessed this nation so much? A nation where I found Christ, a nation where I was able to 27 plus years ago become a Christian and have that freedom to leave Islam without the penalty or punishment of death. So have we lost the will to fight? What is the condition of the church as it relates to the nation? It is connected. It truly is connected. And though I would say this, from a Bible prophecy standpoint, I said it on the show Tuesday, and a couple of folks that were commenting, not on the live chat, but afterwards, apparently are confused about what I said. I said on the show on Tuesday that there's no doubt in my mind that America is not in Bible prophecy. But there's lots of nations that are not in Bible prophecy, and God still works through them. And certainly America is one of those nations. But there is judgment. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to go back and watch the shows on, or the show, I should say, on Tuesday, but it's on our Rumble channel. And I was talking about being under judgment. And again, I said to you, and there's people that are confused, and you get some pushback. because people just don't understand the difference between judgment and wrath. In fact, one of you guys, I think it was Pukiel, brought that up, made a great point on Tuesday that there's a big difference between judgment, God's judgment, and God's wrath. I didn't say America's under wrath, because if America was under wrath, America would just be destroyed, be over. I said America's under judgment, and nations can be under judgment. And there's many reasons why a nation comes under judgment. Forsaking God's principles, God's values, as a nation that was founded on Judeo-Christian principles, as a nation that was founded on the Bible in many ways, as a nation that had many of our founders as believers, certainly even the deists among them were still, sought to have a moral foundation. As a nation that, yes, we had our issues from the very beginning, but yet we saw the blessing of God on this nation, becoming the most prosperous, powerful, freest, wealthiest nation in history, to some extent, of the world, potentially. And yet we began to erode that morality. We allowed the attacks against God and creationism. We allowed the attacks on prayer and the Bible and the Ten Commandments. And then we legalized abortion, murdering of the unborn. We legalized homosexuality, and on and on and on. Open borders and so forth and so on. So here we are. And meanwhile, what have we witnessed in regards to the church, the American church? What we have witnessed in the American church is that we have seen more illiteracy. We have seen a decaying of a biblical worldview. We have seen apostasy or lukewarmness. We have seen dead churches, like the churches in the book of Revelation. We have seen progressive Christianity, like this guy Tellerico, who claims to be a Christian running in Texas, who that's the way a lot of pastors sound. We have seen churches embrace a social gospel where we're not preaching the true gospel anymore, but it's about feelings and emotions and inclusivity rather than preaching an exclusive message of Christ. And we have seen a church that has apathy, cowardness from many pulpits, embracing ecumenicalism, interfaithism with other false ideologies and, quote, religions like Islam. A church that says we ought to not in any way, shape, or form be political. Even though you're going to see tonight, the Muslims have no problem with that. The Democrats and the black churches have no problem with that. Or in their white churches, whatever color, Hispanic churches, doesn't matter. They don't have a problem with that. But here we are, 250 years later in this nation. And as many people say, well, kind of America seems to be the last kid standing, sort of the last nation that is really resisting what the Bible has referred to as that beast system. So I want to be very clear. I have no doubt we're in Bible prophecy. I have no doubt we're setting up Bible prophecy. I have no doubt that we are in the last days. By the way, I forgot to mention, a church now that has fully embraced replacement theology in mass. They've turned on Bible prophecy. They've turned on dispensationalism, which is, in my opinion, the only way to interpret the Bible. They turned on support of the Jewish people in the sense of God's promises to them, not in their rejection of Christ, of course. And they're beginning to embrace other things. So all those things are happening. We're in the last days, the rebirth of Israel. We're seeing so much Bible prophecy unfold with this growing beast system, technology, AI. All these things are happening. Listen, there's no doubt that we are getting closer and closer to the coming of the Lord. There's no doubt that we're there. I don't know how long, but the bottom line is we are still called to fight. We're still called to stand. We're still called to occupy. We're still called to be salt and light. We're still called to be ambassadors for Christ in the world, not of the world. We are still called to pray for the welfare of our city. By the way, that is the verse tonight that I wanted to bring up for you. This is in Jeremiah chapter 29. And this is Jeremiah's letter to the Israelites who have now been taken captive. Because what happened? Same thing happened in their nation. Many of the things that I've just described happened in Israel. The pattern of disobedience to God, the pattern of rejection, the pattern of apathy, the pattern of false worshiping false gods and false idols, and blaspheming the name of God, and arrogant leaders, and lack of justice in the land. And all those things that we saw in the Old Testament led them into captivity, led them into God allowing their enemies to come against them. And if you watch my show on Tuesday, you understand that that's what I'm asserting, that particularly this red-green axis, this Islamic takeover is happening because Islam is part of God's judgment, a part of the judgment that he's allowing on the world in the last days, and on nations, on Western nations that at one point preached the gospel, at one point were Christian nations, and look at them now. So all that leads into this, that while there are many things that are going on, you cannot look past the fact that the church as a whole is not praying and acting in the welfare of where God has planted it. Now, again, here is Jeremiah's letter. Now, these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the remainder of the elders who were carried away captive, to the priests, to the prophets, and to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. Okay, so this is obviously in the first half of the 70-year captivity, because the Persians later came and defeated the Babylonians, and the second half of the captivity, remember, was in Persian occupation. This happened after Jeconiah, the king, the queen mother, the eunuchs, the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen, and the smiths had departed from Jerusalem. Verse 3, the letter was sent by the hand of Elasah, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to Babylon. What does it say? What does the letter say? Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all who were carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Okay, so God didn't will it, but God allowed it. He actually allowed it, that the causation was there because of their rebellion. It was not his will, but because of their rebellion, because of their apostasy, because of their falling away, because of their rejection of truth, because there was no biblical justice, they were carried off. Their enemies came against them. God removed this hand of protection, as I believe is what is happening in America. This is the pattern. This is a pattern of Scripture. And some of the people that were commenting on, no nation, these nations are not under judgment. You have no idea what judgment is. You don't understand the word judgment. Judgment, again, as I said on Tuesday, is the discipline of God, the chastening of God to lead us to repentance. It happens individually, obviously, because as we follow Christ, God can discipline us in our walk, can chastise us in our walk, can bring judgment on us in the not eternal judgment as believers, but he can bring things that are causation to our rebellion, our disobedience. If I step out of line, out of the things that Christ has for me and my family and our ministry, there are consequences. That's what judgment is, consequences. And sometimes consequences are when God removes his protection. Because if you're following Christ, you're going to have enemies, correct? If you're following Christ, you're going to have people attack you. So that judgment is not individual and eternal, but it is applicable to the life of a believer in the sense that God chastises, rebukes, corrects those whom he loves. So do I believe that God still desires for this nation to go on? I do. I believe that. I earnestly believe that. And I still believe that there's obviously a significant remnant of his people in this country who will not bow a knee to whatever false system. They're going to be faithful to Christ. But nevertheless, we are under judgment, just like Israel was. And then now let's look at what he says. Here we go. Build houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens and eat their fruit. Take wives and beget sons and daughters. And take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, so that they may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished. So even in captivity, God is saying, live according to the things that I'm telling you. Plant, build, plant gardens, live off the land, eat of your labor, get married, have children, marry those children off to perpetuate. That's one of the things we're not doing, by the way. We're not having children. Our birth rate sucks compared to the Muslims. The Western birth rate, the American birth rate sucks. It is abysmal because we've bought the lie of population control, of birth control, of family control, rather than allowing that to be in the hands of God as believers, where we allow God to ordain our family. We allow God to bless us because children are a blessing of the Lord. They're not a burden. They're not a judgment. They're not a shackle around your ankles. They are a blessing of the Lord. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full. I have 6. I am blessed beyond measure. Is it hard? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I am forever grateful to the Lord that he would entrust me with 6 beautiful children and the 2 that we lost in pregnancy that are in heaven. So this is his command, but it goes beyond, listen, it goes beyond the welfare of your family. So the first thing is, this is about the internal welfare, correct? He's talking about taking care of your family. So internally, even though they're in captivity, they're in a foreign land, in a foreign language, with foreign traditions, God is telling them, you still need to live for me in that condition. You don't get to become worldly. You don't get to become like the Babylonians, which many Israelites did, obviously, right? You don't get to assimilate into their pagan culture. You need to be true to Christ and to your faith. Now, it goes beyond the family. It goes beyond your individual to watch this. Now watch this. Verse 7, and seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. Let me say that again. In its peace you will have peace. So though they're in captivity, though they're in a foreign land, though they're under foreigners, God still tells them, you got to be active in the welfare and praying for the peace of your city, because the more that you can pray for that city, pray that city would honor the God of the Bible, the more you're going to have peace. You see, when we do not stand up and fight, though we are in the last days, though I believe that God will remove his church from the earth before he pours out his wrath during the 7-year tribulation, though I believe that will happen before the second coming of Christ, we don't know the timing. We are still occupying until he comes. Therefore, what should I do? I don't sit home. I don't give up. I don't stop fighting. I don't stop sounding the alarm and being a watchman on the wall. Obviously, raise your children, raise your family, have lots of children, disciple them, get them married off. So there's a legacy there of children. What happens? Then I'm supposed to be praying for the peace of the city, of the place where God has placed me. I am not to give up and not care. And therein lies the problem. Because so many churches in these cities do not go beyond just the quote spiritual. Oh, they'll say, oh yeah, we care about, the homeless. We care about the widows. We care about those things. Great. But if you don't care about the welfare of your city, if you don't care about what's going on in the laws, if you don't care about what's going on with justice, if you don't care about what's going on with the civil government, again, I get it. Sharam, I don't like politics. I don't like politics either. We have to understand that our role, our responsibility is to continue to pray for the welfare of the city that we are in. Because if we actually engage, if we actually go and stand, if we actually go warn our elected officials, the civil servants, if we go and pray, then guess what? The more we do that, the more chance that there will be peace in that city. If we don't, then you know what's happening? What's going to happen to every major American city is what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan, and in Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck, and Minneapolis, and New York City, and Patterson, New Jersey, and in Illinois, and in Houston, Texas, and McKinney, Texas, and Plano, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, and that's what's going to happen because we are not paying attention. So here's the question again: is the will there to fight? As one who believes in Bible prophecy, and one who believes in the last days, as one who believes in the fact that ultimately the church is not going to be here because he keeps us from the hour of wrath that is coming upon the world as the final judgment before the coming of Christ. I believe that. But we're not preaching kingdom now. Listen, I'm not preaching kingdom now. I'm not preaching dominionism because those are false. It's false hope. It's a false setup. But I'm preaching, we still stand and occupy. We pray for the welfare of our cities until Christ comes. Because if we don't, then we get this. We get an Abdul al-Sayed. We get the Muslims taking over. This is what we get. We get the Muslim Brotherhood. We get the DSAers. $115,000 given by CARE, 41 members of CARE to Abdul al-Sayed's campaign. In his victory speech, he said, Inshallah, when he talked about that they're going to win in November. And listen, I got to tell you, right now, I don't think it's looking good for Mike Rogers, the guy against him. Nothing against Mike Rogers, but I think that more than likely, this guy is going to become the first Muslim U.S. senator, just like we had the first, mayor of a large American city with Mamdani in New York City, and we are seeing this across the board. And if you go to these cities, what does it look like? Michigan looks like Iraq. Michigan looks like Syria. Michigan looks like war-torn Lebanon. And I'll show you a video of that in a minute. We're going to look at some of that stuff. When we don't pay attention, these people get elected. When we don't pay attention, I interviewed Gordon Chang for Brandon House Live tonight, and we were talking about the infiltration of the Chinese Communist Party, the money they're pouring in. When we don't pay attention, they focus. He was saying that from 2020 to 2024, the Chinese influence in our nation and them affecting elections with their money and their bots and all this stuff went from the federal elections to focusing more on local races, which is very interesting because that's where so much of the battle is locally. And tonight here in Tennessee, August 6th, is our primary. And I just finished voting for Representative Monty Fritz for governor and other people in our local elections. In fact, the majority of the ballot tonight was for local judges, county commissioners, school boards, county mayor. That's who I was voting for. Monty was just one vote out of about 20 plus people. But we tend to focus on the big races and we tend to not pay attention to the local. And these people are taking over local. That's what, remember, the two houses of Islam teaches. They focus on the most local and they start taking over bit by bit by bit by bit until they get to the upper house. Groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, who Ted Cruz in the Senate Judiciary Committee was trying to expose. The connection of the Muslim Brotherhood, working with the Democrat Socialists of America now. By the way, here is a imam, this Ghazwini in Michigan again, who is a cleric there. And let me go to this video where he's telling his mosque there that it is their obligation to vote for Abdul al-Sayed, Michigan. Watch this.
You know there is election here. And on the 4th of August, there is a very important election. And I see one of the mandatory things, one of our responsibilities
mandatory
to support brother Abdul Sayed. Abdul Sayed, he's running for the Senate. And the other candidate, they supporting Israel. They supporting the Zionists, and all the Muslims, all the believers, men and women, it is responsibility. It's mandatory to go and to elect brother Abdul Sayed, because at least we know he's a Muslim. He will support the Muslim issues here in this country. So it is easy to go and support brother.
So it is easy to go and support Abdul al-Sayed. It is mandatory, he says. It is, there's no doubt. And that's one of the reasons why you're seeing Muslims voting as a voting bloc. We are seeing voter turnout in some of these races, particularly in local. Now, obviously, Abdul al-Sayed's race was a statewide race for U.S. Senate, but we're seeing voter turnout 75% and higher in the Muslim community because they vote as a bloc, because the imam tells them, here's what we're going to support. Where is the separation of church and state? Where is the crying of violation of 501c3? You don't hear any of that, do you? They have no problem. They have no problem doing this. Yet we sit there and our churches, oh, we can't be political. Oh, we can't talk about these issues. Oh, we can't tell you who to vote for. Oh, we can't blah, blah, blah. Well, again, that's not a legal issue, because legally you can. Legally, the pastor of the church can endorse whoever he wants. Legally, the church can encourage people to vote, register people to vote, because it's a responsibility in this nation. It's part of the privilege of being a citizen. But our voter turnout in the church, man, if you're getting 30%, we're doing great. And they're at 75%, 80%, 90% and higher. So they get it. They are coming into communities. The enemy is coming into communities through these people, and they understand how to occupy. We don't. We've been in these communities and we don't understand how to stand occupied and how to pray and be active in the peace and welfare of our city. They get it. They come in and they're very much aware of how to occupy for their cause and how to be about the welfare of the city for them, for their purposes. Yeah, Pookie, thank you for you're talking about, again, some of those places that are now fully in the enclave category. Hassan Piker, we talked about him on Tuesday, exactly, where he actually just came out defending the Muslims because Abdul al-Sayed, after his victory speech, said we got to mend fences because look what happened. He's running against a Democrat who is very left there in Michigan. Remember, Michigan's current attorney general, their current governor is Whitmer. Their current attorney general, Dana Nessel, who is a lesbian Jewess. She's a Jew who's a lesbian. Talk about being confused, right? Secular, quote, Jew. And now they have their Secretary of State, who's going to be running for governor, became the Democrat nominee. But the point is that the churches, remember, this was the place, I've told you this story before. This was the place. Dearborn, Michigan was the place. In 2019, I was scheduled on the anniversary of 9/11 to speak, of all places, in Dearborn, Michigan. I was going to be speaking on interfaith dialogue, how it's unbiblical, and I was going to be preaching the gospel. And we were expecting Muslims to show up, probably to protest, but we were expecting them to show up. And guess what happened? We were at a Baptist church, and because of pressure from imams in the area, because of pressure of their congresswoman, who was a leftist at that time, Dingle, because of pressure from the interfaithers group and threats, the elders of this Baptist church outvoted the pastor, and 36 hours before the event, canceled the event. I was literally driving to the airport when I got the call from the pastor in tears saying, my elders have outvoted me, overrun me, and they've canceled the event out of fear. They're afraid of attacks, reprisal, whatever. So this is what they do. And meanwhile, we're sitting here and we don't have the cohesiveness. These guys are joining forces in this red-green axis. The Democrats, socialists that are really mostly now Marxist communists. They want to overthrow America, the revolutionaries. And then you have these Muslims. Remember Adam Hamawi in New Jersey, congressional district. And their litmus test, by the way, I was about to say, is Israel. Because one of the reasons why Abdul al-Sayed won is because the liberal Democrat he was running against, who she was the current member of Congress, she's a congresswoman who is running for the Senate. She supported Israel. And now this has become the litmus test. So Adam Hamawi wants to cut Israel off at the knees, who won the Democrat primary in New Jersey's 12th congressional district. More than likely is going to be another Muslim member of Congress. Passionately hates Israel, charges it with, quote, genocide. And now he wants there to be no relationship, no funding between the two countries, the U.S. and Israel. Let me play a couple of clips for you. Here is another clip from this young man who is a YouTuber. I played a couple of clips from him in Patterson. Here he is, Nate Friedman. He's Jewish, right? And I want to play a little bit of this documentary that he has put out on Dearborn, Michigan. Get a taste of what is in America, folks. A city that is conquered. A city that is now in their hands. And a city, by the way, where the video that I played on Tuesday of Jake Lang getting pelted with a rock and chased to a police car where there was no police presence there. It's a miracle he wasn't killed. And so far, we've only heard of one arrest. I counted at least dozen to 2 dozen misdemeanor assaults. There was felony assaults, like the guy that came up to him initially hit him with the rock. That's a felony assault because it's a deadly weapon. All this happened, and what do you got? Nothing. Nothing happens. Imagine, that should have been front page news, by the way, right? That attack on a Christian should have been front page news when he's preaching Jesus as Lord over Dearborn. Nothing, right? Nothing. Imagine if that was the other way. Watch this. Watch a little bit of this video. We're not going to play all of it. It's like 22 minutes long. Watch it.
Welcome to Dearborn.
Imagine hearing that 5 times a day. Look at all those flags.
So we
ISIS
are the
flags.
largest Islamic center in North America.
Assalamu alaikum. Are you working here? Do you want Syed to win or Stevens?
Hezbollah don't cause trouble. You know, they're just there to watch my store.
This is the Islamic Takeover of Michigan. Welcome back to the Nate Friedman Show. I've come to Dearborn to see what it's really like here. It's an ordinary Wednesday, and if you had to do some work on the house and stop at Home Depot first, these are the signs you would see, each of them translated in Arabic. Next up, I wanted to speak to the people of Dearborn about the upcoming Senate race between Al-Sayed and Stevens. Al-Sayed is on track to become the first Muslim senator in our country's history. He wants to abolish ICE, defund the police, and went on tour with Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. Assalamu alaikum. I'm from New York, making a YouTube video about the election coming up between Stevens and Sayed, and we're asking people who they prefer.
Guys,
Yeah, which one do you prefer to win?
What do you think, bro? I'm Arabic. I'm Lebanese, right?
Yeah.
Steven is pro APEC.
Oh, is she?
Okay, of course
Yeah.
she does. She
Yeah.
gets money from APEC.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't like APEC. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
And
They're
totally.
controlling our country.
Yeah. And when you say APAC is controlling our country, like, what are they doing for people that don't know? Because people are waking up to it, right? So
They're buying the politicians.
Yeah.
And the politicians make all the votes.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So if you buy a politician and something comes up to where you is pro-Israeli, let's just say,
yes.
of course you're going to vote for it.
Yeah.
Try to pass it.
Yeah. And is there something that you would like to see him do when he becomes senator? Something specific, like something you're hoping for?
No, just take care of his own people. Take care of his people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're Jewish or Arab or what.
Yeah.
Just take care of it. Don't take money like everybody else does in this country.
Right. Right.
You know, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the take. And a lot of money too, bro. It ain't $10.
No, it's like 40 million.
Yeah. it's a lot of
I know it's a ton of money. I've been looking. I've been reading about it. So, part of the reason we came to Dearborn is also it's a very interesting place because it's the first Muslim majority city in the country.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't feel like it gets properly documented.
So
So,
we get documented wrong.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You
It's
know,
not properly.
Yeah, all the Arabs live here.
Right.
The mayor, he's Arab.
Yeah.
The council's mostly Arab. You know.
Yeah. And you're saying that is the case.
Personal friends of mine, the mayor of the council.
Yeah.
This store's been here 70 years.
Wow.
This
Amazing.
store was built. We were the first butcher shop here. We were nominated #1 butcher shop in the country by Food and Wine magazine.
So one of the things I was thinking today was I've gone all over the world actually and learned about Islam and spoken to people who are Islam. Do you think that when he becomes senator that he should fight for a bill that makes prayer times, like that businesses must support prayer breaks? Would that be something
Most
that
of them around here do.
they do already?
Yeah, they just close.
They close for prayer?
Right, close for prayer,
And that's good.
and they go to prayer.
Yeah. And what about halal meat in schools? So this
We
is
have a lot of halal meat in schools now here in Dearborn, everywhere.
yeah. And do you think that should
Not
be
just
the
Dearborn, it's
Yeah.
going further.
yeah? Do you think that should be the case across the whole country?
Yeah, there's a lot of halal places across
Yeah.
the country.
Right. I just mean that right now the
See,
country.
you can eat halal,
Right.
Okay, we can eat halal.
Yeah, non-Muslims can have halal.
Right.
It's not like
There's
no,
nothing,
100%.
Really, it's better. The meat is
Yeah.
sacrificed better.
Okay, well, I seem like you're like a really reasonable, sensible person.
I was born here, 1 block behind the store.
So you've been here for
my
how long?
parents came here in 1947 from Lebanon. We're Lebanese.
Yeah.
What's left of the country? Our village is gone.
Yeah.
My dad's house is gone. They fucking leveled it.
Right.
Now they're digging up the graves, I hear.
So I finally get to speak to someone actually from Lebanon, because a lot of people, they assume what you guys want and they assume shit. So my question to you is like, where do you stand on which government? Is it Hezbollah or is it something else? Like what's going on actually?
Okay. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Hezbollah only protects Lebanon.
Yeah.
If there's no Hezbollah, it's gone, Lebanon.
Right.
Israel will take it over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing keeping them out.
Yeah.
Hezbollah don't cause trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They're just there to watch my store, let's just say. And if they come and start breaking down my store, we're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
And that's what Hezbollah does.
Would you like to see United States allied with Hezbollah?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Trump knows that's a good idea too.
Right.
But the guy who's controlling Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People are talking a lot of shit about Sayyad, saying he owns these properties in India. What do you make of that?
I apologize about the language here.
I'm sure Trump owns property somewhere else.
No,
too.
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
But that's the big thing that they're trying to say is that like, oh, he's a rich guy.
You see what he says.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
They don't know you're recording this shit.
Like the United States to you? The terror organization that has quite literally killed Americans. I was now searching to get more interviews, but this is how almost every interaction would go. While you're watching this, ask yourself, does any of this feel like the United States to you?
I'm making a video about this election. You wait 1 second. Assalamu alaikum, sister. I'm making a video about Dearborn, and I'm asking people,
I didn't even know
who are you voting for the Senate race? Do you want Sayyad to win or Stevens?
No, I speak English.
No speak English? What do you speak?
I'm Arab.
Arabic?
Arabic.
What's that? Yeah, we're asking a question. Yeah. All good. All good. Okay. Thank you. About the election, can I ask you? Okay. Who are you supporting?
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Who do you support?
My speaking
Uh-huh.
Bengali.
Bengali? We are gonna have a Bengali trans.
My no citizen.
Huh?
No citizen.
You're not a citizen. Okay.
I'm not citizen.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm making a video. Do you speak English?
No.
Oh, okay. What do you speak? Arabic. All right.
You see what I mean? This is the Dearborn mayor, and you'll realize it's a city completely taken over.
Abdul is as American as any other name in this country. It's one of the strongest American names that you can have.
If you were to do grocery shopping here in Dearborn, this is what you would see. In my 2 years of reporting on the ground, this is the most shocking footage that I have ever taken. Our country is becoming unrecognizable. I will play this footage without commentary and let you experience it as I did. Hello.
And police force.
As of right now, he has a 97% chance.
All right, we'll stop it there just for the sake of time. But you get the idea. You get the idea. I played that a little bit longer because I just want you to kind of get a sense of what these places look like when they've been conquered, when they've been fully taken over. But yeah, there's churches in Dearborn. There's churches in that part of Michigan, but they're not engaging. They're not active. They're not evangelizing. This has been going on for years. Nothing new. Individual Christians have. But you see the push towards the Islamic takeover. Stores, by the way, critical common sense, let me address your question. They're asking the question about halal. You saw this guy in the video talk about halal, asked the question about halal. And the Lebanese guy said, oh, halal is better for you because it's about how it's sacrificed. Yeah, it's a sacrificial animal. Halal is sacrificed. It means an animal. Halal in food, because the word halal means permissible. It doesn't mean food. It means permissible. So when halal applies to food, the permissibility of food in Islam is because that food has been sacrificed and blessed to Allah. It is not about how it's prepared, like kosher. It is all about how it has been slaughtered, especially meat, and how it's been sacrificed. So meaning that there's got to be a prayer that is over that meal, that food, that meat, that then blesses it to Allah, their false god. So it is a sacrificial food. And I believe it clearly violates, if you go to the book of Acts, chapter 15, look at the council in Jerusalem. The Jerusalem council addresses, after all that they convened on and prayed on, they come back and they address 4 things that Christians should not be doing. And 3 of them have to do with food. 1 is sexual immorality, but 3 of them have to do with food. Do not eat an animal that has been strangled, which is basically what halal is. The way they slaughter an animal is they cut its throat to bloodlet it, and that animal strangles, it chokes on its own blood, number 1. Number 2, do not drink the blood of an animal. And that doesn't mean having a rare steak where there's a little bit of blood. I was talking about actually drinking raw blood. And number 3, do not eat an animal that has been sacrificed to an idol. Well, when a meat has been sacrificed to Allah, that's an idol. That's a false god. That's a demon. And so no Christian should be willingly eating halal. Now, as the question was, when you eat it, I would pray over it. If you listen, if you know, if you can ignore, if you can avoid it, if you can go to a different store, go to a different restaurant, ask them. Some restaurants have asked them. They have halal and non-halal meat available. But I would, if I can avoid it, I avoid it. But sometimes it happens where I don't know. And so what I do is I pray over the meat. I pray that it will have no impact on me, that I plead the blood of the lamb over the food in Jesus' name. But it is really, really important to prepare that. Yeah, Sean Renee, that's a good. Did you see that Home Depot in it, where the Home Depot had Arabic? Because these people don't speak English. They come here. There's no assimilation. They don't learn the language. They just, they set up a country within a country. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, where's the church? The church is silent. The church doesn't want to talk about it. The church doesn't want to be called racist. The church doesn't want to be called Islamophobe. We don't want to be seen as over fear-mongering or hating Muslims. I don't want you to hate Muslims. I want you to love them enough to go tell them the truth. I want you to share the gospel with them. We should have a concentrated effort on training and equipping and evangelism right now. But we've lost the fight. We've lost the fight for freedom. By the way, for those of you who are in the state of Tennessee, I was just looking up at the results. This is live, 9:11 p.m. Eastern time. The governor's race in Tennessee, too early to call. We have 44.6% of the votes in. They estimate there's still 450,000 votes remaining, which means a low voter turnout. That's a low voter turnout. Right now, Blackburn has about an 11-point lead, 10-point lead on John Rose. And Monty is, so she's got 43.2%. Rose has got 32.6%. Monty is at 24.1%. So he's got 90,000 something votes. And I was looking at the counties. It's hard to know. There's no numbers right now showing up in Shelby County, in Davidson County, Tipton County, Williamson County, in Morgan. Let's see, where's Knox? Wow, Knox went heavily is going heavily for Marsha Blackburn, probably because Knox County Mayor had supported her instead of Monty. So we'll be praying. We're going to continue to pray, but we'll keep an eye on that, and I'll give you a final number here in the next few minutes before we go off air. But listen, again, we need to pray. That the biggest prayer has to be that there's got to be a change in our focus, our attitude as the church to how we see the gospel. The gospel isn't just salvation. The gospel isn't just internal. The gospel then also affects, as believers, our worldview, how we live our lives, how we raise our children, how I go to work, how I care for the welfare of my city. Why do we fight in this ministry? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Despite threats and everything that comes against us, we do it because God tells us to occupy. He tells us to be salt and light. He tells us to still represent righteousness, resist evil, right? The Holy Spirit's in us. The Holy Spirit is the restrainer of evil. So if we don't stand up and say something and pray and act, then evil is not restrained. And what do we see? We see people like Abdullah Syed get elected. We can see people like Hamawi get elected. We see people like Mamdani get elected. We see these radical, revolutionary Marxist communists getting elected who vehemently hate America. And we tolerate it. And we call it politics. No, that's not politics. That's a fight for liberty. That's a fight for freedom. And we don't, I don't know. I don't know if we have the willpower to do it or not. A couple of other headlines here. This one's really frustrating. Very quick before I go. Massachusetts bill. Pay attention to this one, folks. Massachusetts bill 2134, Senate bill, would create a permanent, this is before right now the House and the Senate, would create a permanent 11-member state commission focused exclusively on the status, civil rights, and inclusion of Muslims, of people who practice Islam, complete with government appointments, public funding potential, staff, and policy recommendations, sparking debate over whether it singles out one religion in violation of church-state separation. Of course it does. And here's some of the things that this bill would do. Massachusetts on the brink, state advances first ever permanent. I had the video or the image, but for some reason it's not coming up here. Let me see if I can read. No, it won't reload. Never mind. It is the first ever permanent commission dedicated solely to Islam. A legislative proposal in Massachusetts is moving forward to establish the Commonwealth's first permanent state commission on Islam. Senate Bill 2134, House Bill 3351. What would it do? 11-member commission. Members will be appointed by state officials, including 2 by the governor, 1 by the attorney general, 1 by the Senate president, 1 by the House speaker, 2 by the state secretary, and on and on. They would serve as a resource for state government on cultural, social, economic, educational, and other issues affecting American Muslims. Conduct research, hold public meetings, hearings act as a clearinghouse for information. Recommend qualified American Muslims for appointed positions in state and local government. Report annually to the governor and legislature on its findings and recommendations. Specifically examine trends related to Islamophobia, discrimination, anti-discrimination efforts. Suggest best practices or legislative changes. So they're going to create a board now that is going to be focused on coming against anybody that criticizes Islam, propose legislation. And let me play this one other clip. Here's in the UK, just so you see what's our future. Here's a guy in the UK preaching against Islam. Watch what happens. Watch.
When kids are getting raped and murdered, in my own country it's happening as well. Hey, you stood there smiling. You're Mohammed and Muslims are
right there. You're Mohammed.
Evil ideologies. It is evil. And what you doing there?
The moment he said Muhammad is evil, they arrest him because they're saying he's now invoking racism.
We're all right, Emmett. Don't worry about
See this? Here's the future of America, folks. Idiot, foolish, British police, including a Muslim right there. See that guy on the left is a Muslim police officer. You're under arrest for what? Racial aggravation. Because you called Muhammad a rapist and a killer.
Have you read the Quran? Have you ever read the Quran? It shows you in the Quran, doesn't it? That's not him speaking facts. No, everything
It's illegal.
Everything I have is legal.
What's he done?
Nothing. No. Absolutely nothing. When kids are getting rich.
That is the future of these cities. That will happen in Dearborn and Hamtramck and Dearborn Heights and Minneapolis and St. Cloud and Bloomington and in the state of Minnesota and New York City and the boroughs and Patterson, New Jersey. I can go on and on and on. That's what's going to happen in these cities when somebody is out there simply saying, well, Muhammad is a rapist. Muhammad, because he's a pedophile, because he married a 6-year-old and had sex with her when she was 9, is a misogynist, is a murderer, on and on and on, saying factual things about Islam. The moment he said that, they arrested him on the streets for simply speaking what should be free speech in America. But if you got these Muslim panels doing what they're doing, you got these politicians pandering to the Muslims, you got these leftists bending over backwards to accommodate this takeover, and you got our churches doing nothing, saying nothing, talking about it. By the way, going back to comments, you guys said, somebody said J.B. Hickson said don't vote. Where was that? Yeah, it's maddening. And this is maddening. Because it doesn't matter because both parties are corrupt. Sure they are. But like with Monty Fritz, we vote for the best candidate. I've told you many times, I don't blanket vote Republican. I vote for the best candidate. And if there's not a good candidate that's not been vetted, I'm not going to vote for that. But to say we don't vote because parties are corrupted and to persuade our congregation, that is irresponsible. And that's what gives people a bad name. That's what gives people a bad name. And I like JB, but I vehemently disagree. Or somebody said the example of JD Farag. These guys are so far into prophecy that sometimes they become no good. You know, I like JD Farag. I like his teaching. But to say don't vote, that it doesn't matter, that's irresponsible. That's irresponsible. And the Muslims have no problem. But again, it's not just about voting. It is about praying. It is about speaking out. It is about showing up. It is about standing in those places. It is about not being afraid and not being cowardly, like this young man in the UK who's willing to get arrested to test whether there is actually free speech. And what's the result? There isn't free speech because now they've protected Islam, the British government, the German government, the French government, and they will arrest you. And that's what happened to, again, Lang in Dearborn when he was pelted. So understand, if the church doesn't rise up, if the church, even a remnant, doesn't speak out, doesn't fight, doesn't resist, and I'll say it again, I have no doubt Bible prophecy is going to happen. I have no doubt we're going the direction we are. I have no doubt that America will betray Israel, because the word of God says America is going to betray Israel. I have no doubt that America will at some point probably fall, because every nation is going to succumb to this beast system. The Bible has said these things are going to happen. However, we don't know when. We don't know how much time we have, just like we pray for Iran. Some element of Persia is going to come against Israel. But what if God has a window where Iran can open and the gospel can go in and the gospel can come out? What if it's 2 years, 3 years? I'll take it. We'll take it, because souls are at stake. And so instead of trying to save America, we should try to save the people in America. Instead of trying to just kiss up to Trump, we should be praying for him, but also praying for conviction, and praying that he'd have better voices than heretic and false prophetess Paula White. So let us activate and not give up the fight. And by the way, we are to contend for our faith, regardless of what happens, going back to Jeremiah 29. You know the verse about, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, for a future and a hope. Guess what? That wasn't talking about us today in context. That was talking about them in captivity. In captivity. Hey, you're in captivity, but I still have plans for you. There is a hope. There's a future. You're coming out. So in context, it's talking about Israel. But for us, in context, God has a hope for us. God has a plan for us. His kingdom is coming, regardless of what happens to America. But let us not be watchmen on the wall. Let us not be derelict in our duty to warn. Raise, as Jeremiah 29, first build your houses, raise your kids, get married, get them married off, have more children, multiply. That's good. But then pray for the peace and the welfare of your city. Because if you do, it gives you the opportunity to live in peace rather than live like people in the UK, France, Germany, or other parts of the world, or how Christians are living in other parts of the world, like in Nigeria, who are being slaughtered to the tunes of tens of thousands at the hands of Muslims. And yet the American church, silent. They had no problem. Israel is committing genocide. We saw a lot of pastors, a lot of churches jump on that bandwagon. Poor Palestinians. But they don't say anything about the massacre of the Christians at the hands of the Muslims. They don't say anything about the massacre of the Iranian people, because it doesn't fit the narrative. But for you and I, we'll serve the Lord. For you and I, let's not be quiet. Let's fight. Let's stand. Let's occupy. Let's be salt. Let's be light. Let's be ambassadors. And let's represent Christ. And yes, let's vote. Look, we voted. And whatever the outcome, 56% vote in. Blackburn, unfortunately, still has about a 10% lead over John Rose. And it seems like it's kind of going in that same 43%, 33%, 23%. They're about 10 points apart. I mean, Mana is doing really well, amazingly well for being a grassroots candidate. That's amazing. 110,000 votes so far. But Monty, Monroe County, he is winning Monroe County. Roane County, Scott County. There's 3 or 4 counties that he won. John Rose here is won Nashville area. But anyway, I know for our audience that is not from Tennessee, you're like, what does that have to do with it? But thank you guys for praying for us. Lord's will be done. Lord's will be done. But we do our part, right? We do our part. And the rest is in the Lord's hands. God bless you guys. Have a blessed weekend. If you do want to join me on Facebook on Sunday about 3 o'clock live, Eastern live, I'll go on Facebook with our teaching from our house church. Otherwise, Lord willing, I'll be back with you next Tuesday, noon Eastern time or 12:15 Eastern time for Truth Today. But let's continue to love the Lord and not betray him. Thank you guys for your support again. Visit our website, tillministry.com. If you want to support our ministry, you can make a one-time donation to help us travel, to help us continue to do our shows, to help us do everything that we're doing to end this fight. You're a part of it. You join this ministry. We're grateful to you. And remember again, if you need ivermectin, go to freshdrugs.com. Visit our local pharmacist here. You can order it, pay for it. If you're in the state of Tennessee, they'll mail it to you. If you're out of the state and you want to get some quality ivermectin here that's sold over the counter, we can ship it for you. You just put us as the pickup on the order. Send us an email. We'll go get it for you, and we'll mail it to you. If it's emergent, we can mail it to you overnight if necessary. We've done it before, but we want to help people. And we don't get any kickbacks or anything. We just ask that you just chip in $10, $15 if we're mailing it to cover just our time and our shipping costs. That's it. But God bless you guys. Have a great rest of your night, great rest of your weekend. Pastor Sharam Hading saying we'll see you next time on Truth Today.